Claire Phillips, a conflicted American spy. How did the conflict of being a part of World War II as a spy and compromise of Claire Phillips as a spy in captivity for 9 months with the Japanese soldiers in 1945 affect us winning World War II and the way of war with spies? Claire Phillips was an American spy between 1941 to 1951 in World War II. She evolved what spy system we had before the war into something more complicated and more secure. "350,000 women served in the military in the United States in World War II. These women, on March 10, 2010, were finally awarded the Congressional Gold Medal. Also, Rosie the Riveter was hope to many women, telling those women that they could do it. France fell in 1940 and Germany took over the rest of Europe and North Africa. Padded blouses were the fling and so were long skirts. Put them together and you get classic 1940s wear. Claire Phillips founded her own club called the Tsubaki Club to spy on high-ranking Japanese military officers to see when and where they were going to attack next. She was not afraid to do anything to get that information, but she did not realize that some would be so open to talking about top-secret missions. If they got a little drunk, they would be an open book. One of her previous marriages, she had a daughter named Diane. Claire tried very hard to cover up her tracks when giving letters to one of her friends at a base in the foothills of the Philippines. She gave herself a name. That name was High Pockets. She gave herself this name because she put letters in her brassiere to hide them.
You're about to witness a motion picture story of a woman who performed a magnificent service to her country under hazardous wartime conditions. In time of crisis, she recognized a call to duty and reacted as we hope all Americans will if confronted with similar circumstances. As an underground agent and civilian patriot, she acquitted herself with great courage.
Claire Phillips, the determined wife to her dear husband John Phillips. Claire went looking for him after he went missing in a battle. She believed that he was taken by the Japanese troops, and she was right. But when she was told by a priest visiting one of the prisons to give them food and supplies, he found out some terrible news. John had died a few months before. The death of her husband made Claire even more determined to help her country as a spy, so that, at the time, there was a chance that the United States would win this war. Claire helped the United States fight off attacks from the Japanese by knowing when and where they were going to attack. Getting to Manila was no easy step to take after knowing her husband was not coming back. When John first left, he told Claire to take all the money out of the bank and change it to American currency, and to get a certain number of canned foods so it would last them when trying to find a new home. Claire and her daughter Diane found an apartment in Manila, and Claire realized she had to become a widowed mother. Luckily, she had a friend that was nice enough to give her a loan so she can start her journey of being a businesswoman. She founded the Tsubaki Club to carry on her family's involvement in the United States government by becoming a spy. Using her club that was conveniently located by military docks, she made her club open to only Japanese military officers and listened in on their conversations. And sometimes they would be open to sharing their plans to a woman, because a woman wouldn't know what to do with that kind of information. Claire also used her club as a meeting place for other spies. The Japanese found out about this secret meeting place and took one of the spies and went undercover as him. Claire did not know this person, but with the formal way the Japanese spy talked and that he never gave any identification to her, she knew what had happened. She knew that it was a trap to get her to confess who she really was, Miss High Pockets. But she did nothing. She did not run, she did not hide. Claire thought that was the best way to confuse them. The Japanese soldier searched the club and they found nothing. She had made sure that she covered her tracks well, but they still arrested her and put her in a terrible place. They put her in a tight prison cell with other women. The Japanese soldiers held her captive for 9 months while they tortured her, but she did not give any information away. Defeated, the Japanese let her go. Claire Phillips was an American spy in Manila, the capital of the Philippines. Claire was desperate to find her husband, so she took all her money out of the bank, which was requested by him, and made it into American currency, and moved into an apartment to try and find her husband in 1942. But when she found out her husband died, she was even more determined to help others get back to their families. They are called the prisoners of war. Claire got fake papers to make it look like she was an Italian. In those fake papers, her name was Dorothy Wentz. The club she owned was called the Tsubaki Club. And at the very beginning, her club was going great, so she had enough money to get medical supplies and food to the prisoners of war. She gave the men and women in the prisoners of war group hope that they would make it and return to their families. But unfortunately, her club was destroyed by a Japanese bomb. In one of the first letters back to her military friends, she had to come up with a code name. She picked High Pockets because she stuffed money and secret messages into her brassiere. Claire gave important information to the United States so that they could counteract what the Japanese were going to do. Claire died in 1960 because of meningitis from not being properly cared for when she was taken by the Japanese soldiers. Although the women in the cell that she was held in tried their best. Claire helped win the war by letting the United States know what the Japanese were going to do. She also opened the eyes of the United States and helped them make a more formal spy system, so in the future, conflict or compromise, they might rise to a better solution and end it faster. Claire Phillips, an amazing American spy.